he's handling that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Have you seen the new book?
I just from Facebook, yeah.
You should check out that interview him and the dude did. It's actually pretty good.
Oh.
Tom was my freshman basketball coach.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Rock Turk Sports Show. My name is Rocco Foggio, and I'm one of the hosts of the show, and also the #1 enemy of the fanboy. As always, I'm joined by my host, Justin, get that bum out of here, Turk, and Dom, the ref, Regio. For any new listeners, we're a couple of former athletes turned coaches that will be bringing the week's top national and local sports stories and debating on them using our unique sports experiences and perspectives. But before we get started, just want to let you know today's show is brought to you and sponsored by Blaze Contracting. You see Derrick Rose, everybody keeps turning him down. He's trying to get back contract, everybody keeps turning him down. Like he went to Milwaukee, they turned him down. And then he went to the Clips, and the Clips signed some Euro dude for 2 years. Derrick Rose. Like he's talking about trying to get that max contract. Like, bro, and then they're trying to trade. Houston's trying to get this. Cleveland's trying to get Carmelo. They're trying to get Love right down. They're talking about Houston getting a 3-year
He
trade.
said Jamal Crawford is excited about Jordan Cadman for the buyout. They got Jose Calderon. That's horrible.
Bro. And what Gold State did, they're not getting beat. Unless somebody gets beat.
The big boy that got queued up for Sunday.
He was in 10 minutes. I don't know what you mean. He's going to be 10 minutes.
They recorded, they went live and
I
recorded.
mean, I don't have it queued up now.
Yeah, but you're aware of that?
I mean, if we're going to run into the same exact problem as Scott, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. I can come in here and do it that day.
10 seconds.
Sorry.
Gentlemen, what's going on? How you guys doing after this 4th of July weekend, this extended weekend?
Salute. I'm feeling very patriotic today on a nice balmy Thursday. No rain.
Yeah.
Which thing?
Sparklers everywhere. Everyone made a mess.
If you know, Turk was being greedy, man. He's posting all these pictures, these brontosaurus steaks that he
Man,
picked
I
up.
gotta tell you, shout out to Sam's Club, because I was in there. I was just thinking I was gonna get regular ribeyes. I walk up and they got this thing called a cowboy ribeye. I mean, you know how, I don't know if you've seen Soul Man, where a man be like, I'm gonna go to the hotel, I'm gonna get a steak the size of your back. This steak was the size of some people's back. It was 3.5 pound steak, ribeye.
Each of them.
Each
I
of
see
them.
like 3 or 4 of them.
3 of them, man. I haven't finished the one I cooked.
And this is ideal. This is back steak.
Yeah. I'm like, give me a steak and a milk. Steak and milk.
I think when we were coaching the JV, and we would go for the Sunday CC game. Turk lives over that way, and we'd have. He said, "Oh, come over early. We'd have some drinks and barbecue." And it was. I didn't miss any for like 3 years because he puts it down on the grill. So I'll give it down for that.
For the whole team?
No, just the coach.
Oh,
It's coaches, man. It's the coach. Come on, man.
Couple back steaks for that.
Well, it's not bad, you know.
Yeah.
Just want to tell everybody that we have I'm excited today because I don't even know about it, but we have a new segment. And as we told you, as Turk explained last week about, like he calls everybody a bum, or his definitions of what a bum is. So he decided we need to come up with a segment. So that was, we're going to have a bum of the week. So I'm excited about this. And this is all him. He chooses them. I don't get to hear who it is before. So I'm really excited for this segment later on in the show.
The bum of the week. And just so you know, on social media, on our Facebook page and Twitter, you'll be able to comment moving forward. You can choose anybody you want. You want to nominate whoever as the bum of the week, put it in there, give a quick blurb as to why, and we'll put it in the running and see what happens. But we got a good bum of the week this week.
It's strictly Turk's choice. So
yes, strictly.
And he's going to keep the secret, so none of us will know until it's
tight ball, tight lipped, tight lipped.
My ex-girlfriend nominated me. I saw that.
So, but before we get started today, Dom, I usually screw this up, and everybody keeps telling me, can keep us on point as far as make sure we keep getting the number out during the show.
You got it.
Because I keep getting hit with that, so I'm sorry, people, I forget these things. As I'm beating up on Turk all the time, the little things.
You always miss out on that? Okay,
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah, so you people, if you want to call in, take your hand out of the Doritos bag and type in 248-721-8570. We can take the call live, or you can go to their Twitter handle, Rock and Turk Sports with a Z. And you can also check out the show on Facebook Live. And how do they find you on Facebook Live, Rocco?
It's just going to Rock and Turk Sports page, and show should already be up on there running.
Cool.
All right, well, Mr. Superhero Villain, glad you say you're a villain, you're
Yes.
chasing all the girls. What we
Yes.
got going on today?
All right, we're starting this thing off with NBA news and updates, and we're starting it with Turk. Turk, what do you got?
NBA news and updates. If you're an NFL football player, you play hockey, you got to be looking at the NBA free agency, wondering why you didn't choose a jump shot over a slap shot, because these guys are getting paid ridiculous amounts of money, all guaranteed, not like the NFL, which I still love the NFL way. We'll talk about that later, but either way, there's been some huge contracts being doled out, and we just want to pinpoint a couple of them, because I think there's some that were very interesting, and I don't want to start big time. I'm gonna go with key role players that I thought it was very interesting where they signed and what they signed for and what it does to the team. One that came in last night, Andre Roberson, the two guard from Oklahoma City, 3 years, $30 million. I thought he's an all defensive player. $10 million is about as much as you want to pay for the guy. I didn't think he stayed in Oklahoma City.
Okay.
He re-signed with Oklahoma City. I didn't think they'd be able to get him and Patrick Patterson. I know they signed him and they were looking at Rudy Gay. That fell apart. I think he's a phenomenal two, and it allows Paul George to play the three exclusively in the starting lineup. And I think it gives them a lot of flexibility, because one thing I said about Rudy Gay, if they got him, I didn't think they needed to start him because they had enough offense in the starting lineup. So this allowed them to keep that defensive stalwart in that lineup. Him and Steven Adams are probably their two best defensive players there. It allows Oklahoma City to be very versatile, which I think they are going to be a player based on. Only position I still is question is Patrick Patterson, Cantor, who's going to play the four.
But Cantor, for like you just said, if Cantor's coming off the bench, if
That's
Rudy Gay's
good
coming
scoring.
off the bench,
Well, they're not going to get Rudy Gay.
oh,
That fell apart. But Cantor's off the bench. They need to figure out, Singler, how much can Singler give you? The bench is a little weaker, so we got to see. But I like their starting lineup. If Patrick Patterson can be that guy that can give them, 7 to 10 points, he's a good three-point shooter. He's going to have a lot of wide open opportunities. I think it's a good fit for him. I think it is. That's one that I really like. Another one that I really liked that I thought was very interesting is my man Swaggy P. Swaggy P, Golden State. I don't know. I mean, I need to check. They seem like they're signing everybody because they signed Iguodala for 3 years, 48. They got Sean Livingston back for 3 years, 24, and they gave Swaggy P 1 year at $5 million. And I think people think that Swaggy P is like not a good player because he was out in LA. All they see is the highlights of him doing stupid stuff. Well, yes, but the good thing about where he's going, the shots that Swaggy P takes in LA, they encourage in Golden State. Only difference is he's only going to be able to get 10 minutes doing it.
but people don't remember when he was with the Clippers, and they had
Even with the Wizards, he had a good
when he
run.
had a good structure. I mean, you just put him on a team with a bunch of kids, and
Yeah.
they learning weren't winning, so weak things will happen. So and I'm guaranteed he'll be gone if he does not. So I think, like you said, that is because I think that now they still got to figure out what they're going to do with Zaza, and then also the other big boy, the other center.
They got to find some. They don't have any of them signed.
No.
McGee is
McGee's
meeting with the Clippers, but they still got to do something at the 5.
But other than that, they've got some.
But they got a lot of versatility. I really like what they've done. And Omar, we didn't talk about Omer Kasipi. He's another shooter. I mean, these guys are they're lining up. They're putting more shooters on the court, and these guys are going to play limited minutes.
And they're not other than
Paying the pennies, and they're going. It's going to be good for his career. 1 year of limited minutes. People are going to see him in limited minutes and be like, oh man, if we give him more minutes, he might give us more points. And they don't realize that Nick Young only needs about 10, 12 minutes a night. So he's in a good
So
situation.
let me ask you a question real quick on this. We have been talking about how the NBA is so, like, this is the more exciting part than the season because, okay, if everything falls down, let's say Cleveland gets a couple more people, then we're probably looking at finals number 4, okay?
Yeah.
Now, with the way the model, now granted, Golden State drafted well. They have a good front office, and then they've convinced these guys. It's just a perfect storm. But do you see more teams and maybe more owners looking at this and saying, because some of these guys they're picking up kind of like the Raiders used to, right? Everybody, they pick up the has-beens when they're done. But some of these guys got enough in the tank, and they want to win a championship.
Limited minutes.
But they're keeping their big dogs together, and all the guys are putting team first and not themselves. Now they're all getting paid. They might not. Yeah, Steph's making $200 million, but Draymond's making good money. Clay's making good money. Their contracts come back up. Do you think this is something that is going to help the NBA, or do you think this is just a rarity?
No, I think this is the new NBA, and you can go back to the Phoenix Suns when they went with that small ball lineup. About you got a bunch of guys 6'8" on the court, and I think that is manifested into what you got in Golden State, where even all their resources are being allocated to wing play, guys who can shoot, who can play defense, because they're saying at the 5 because they come so few and far between. All I need is a guy that's going to go in there and box out, grab a couple rebounds. I don't need a dominant big. I need a guy that's going to set picks, do the grunt work. I don't need to pay him a lot of money, but I need to get scores out here. Even in my bench, I need shooters. The NBA is all about it's all about the 3-point line right now in the NBA. If you don't have guys at the 3-point line, you're not going very far. And I mean, you look at Cleveland, Golden State; they're two of the top shooters in the league. They make it to the finals every year. Even with LeBron not being a great 3-point shooter, he's pretty efficient for what he does as a 3-point shot. And the rest of the guys, Kyrie Irving and J.R. Smith, they do a good job. One more I want to focus on. Okay. 2 more. So Gordon Hayward to Boston. All right, I know we talked about this last week. I still don't think Boston is anywhere. I said my disclaimer was they needed Paul George and either Gordon Hayward or Paul George and somebody else. It had to be Paul George or one guy. Honestly, I don't even see a good. I need to see what they're going to do with Gordon Hayward, because they're talking about if they got to trade Crowder to make this work. That's a big piece to lose.
Not only that,
Avery Bradley,
Crowder, Bradley,
and Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
Oh, and they have $71 million. They might need to trade 2 of them to make it work. Crowder is the one everybody wants, and he's got a very manageable contract, $7 million a year. He'd be a great fit in Utah anywhere. He'd be a great player.
But the thing is,
I'm
not
worried
worried about the trade. But the thing is, okay, what are you bringing in that's going to help you? Because like you said last week, you said if they either needed Paul George, they needed a 2 who can score. Avery Bradley can put up some points. He's a better defender. In Rozier, you don't know what do you have at the 2 that's going to help you not only get out the East, but now everybody's not worried about getting out the East. It's also worried about, okay, you beat Cleveland. How can you? And I don't see.
Only thing I can think of is that Danny Ainge thinks highly of his 2 young guys, Jaylen Brown and Tatum, as being early contributors. That's tough.
3. You still don't have a 2. You got 3 threes.
I sort of think one of those guys. I think Gordon Hayward can play the 2. Maybe Tatum. Yeah, Jaylen Brown plays stretch 4. I think they're very vulnerable on the boards. I don't think Boston is bet. I don't think they got closer by this, but I don't think they're done. I still think they're gonna make a big move, and they're gonna get somebody on the block who can rebound, because Horford doesn't want to play the 5. He wants to play the 4. If you get rid of Crowder, that front court looks really thin. Looks really shaky. The other one, Paul Millsap to Denver. I actually like the fit in Denver. I don't like the money. I like the fit, because I think
getting rid of everybody, though, that's the problem. Like when he signed, he was okay, but Del Nair's gone. He's out with the Clippers. I mean,
they got their backcourt. Gary Harris and Murray is pretty good. They got the young big fella at center who's a double machine. Yeah, Uric is a very good up and coming player. I think Millsap is going to be an 18 and 8 guy who's going to be very consistent around a bunch of young guys who are trying to still figure it out.
So are we built?
Like I said, for those of you listening, if you want to call in and give us your opinion, the number is 248-721-8570. Go ahead, Rocco.
So my only thing is like this. So I'm looking at, I don't have like me and you play ball, right? So I never have a problem with an athlete getting their money. But I'm looking at some of these. So like I think Minnesota, even though I think in a couple years, if they stay together, they could be formidable. They got Teague, they got Butler, they got Wiggins, they got Deng, they just got Taj Gibson, they've got some good young depth, and they got Karl Anthony Towns. He signed 3 years, $57 million. That's okay. I'll take that. He's a good player. Okay, but now you go down and you look at Drew Holiday, who's also a very good player. He got 5 years, 126, and they have Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins. Buddy Hield's gone. What are they doing? I mean, you're spending all this money. Are you going to be able to resign DeMarcus Cousins this time? And then, so are you just trying to keep your fan base happy now, keeping the seats? where are you going? So I'm looking at some of these guys, even Blake Griffin, 5 years, 173 max contract. They brought in a couple pieces, but they're not contending.
No,
for
I agree. I think the Clippers and what the Clippers and New Orleans did, I didn't think they helped them at all. Honestly, I thought paying Drew Holiday that type of money. Those guys were together last year, and I know they got a lot of holes around those guys.
That's what I'm saying. The hole.
They got a lot of holes. The supporting cast is not there. They haven't drafted very well. They flamed out on a lot of guys. And Boogie is probably going to leave after this year.
So Anthony Davis might leave too.
Well, he's got another 4 years. I think he signed a 5-year last year. He re-signed. Same year as Drummond, he re-signed.
So here's a couple other ones that I don't know. I don't know. We didn't talk about this week, but I think I know. So the Cavs re-signed Kyle Korver for 3 years, 22. Which I don't know. He didn't really, me being, like I said, I'm a fantasy guy. I watch the stats a lot more, and I look at and he really didn't put up numbers when he got here. And he definitely didn't do what they thought he was going to do as far as helping him out shooting the three. Kyle Lowry, I thought there would probably be a better market for him, and he just took $100 million to stay up there, and they obviously signed Serge Ibaka. I think they're still a good team. I think they can compete. I don't know if they can scare anybody. But then the last one that I looked at was, and obviously he's near the end of his career, and he's just trying to, as they say, collect them checks, was the Sixers giving Redick, which is a good fit because they need a shooter, but he got a 1 year, $23 million contract.
Yeah.
So what do you think about those? Because I'm thinking, like, hey, get your money. But what I dislike, I liked all the movement. I like you get your phone goes off. But a lot of times I'm thinking, if you're in free agency like NFL or baseball or whatever, you're doing something to make your team better, to compete for conference championship, title, whatever. A lot of these moves are just, we got the money, here's the name, here it is. We might get to the playoffs. It's like, let's get to the playoffs, but we're not going to. And if you're in the West, it's like, we're not going to do it again.
Yeah, and if you're in the West, it's tough sledding over there because there's a lot of teams.
And everybody's going to the West, though. What's up with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think some teams made moves that are questionable. I think paying Blake Griffin $170 million, like you said, extremely questionable. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I think some team. It comes down to Cavs. I haven't seen enough to say anybody's past Cavs or Golden State either. I don't think Boston did enough to get close to them in the East, and I think in the West, Houston and OKC made strides. I think of the two of those, I actually like what OKC has done better than what Houston has done because they can defend and they can score.
After you just told me that, I didn't see that late that you said. So that's
Yeah.
But they do. I think they're another piece.
Yeah, their Achilles heel is definitely gonna be their bench.
All right, guys, we gotta go on to the next topic here. This is continuation from last week. It's the preseason college football preview. Rocco, you're up. Big Ten continued.
So last week we gave you a little bit because we got a call and we didn't get to finish up. And one thing that me and Turk said, we liked Nebraska as possibly a sleeper. So I went back and I kind of redid my notes and what I was looking at. So how I'm going to give this my end of the preview is, you can't talk about everybody. So I'm going to take the top 3 contenders that I feel are in the East, and then the top 3 in the West, and then I'll give you my pick of how I think it's going to end up. I'm liking Ohio State just because obviously Urban Meyer's been doing a phenomenal job recruiting. You got JT Barrett. Anytime you have a senior quarterback that's good, that's coming back, you're going to have a chance, and that's at any level, college, high school, pro. You got a good quarterback, you have a chance. They got new OC Kevin Wilson that was at Oklahoma in the glory years, and then he was at IU, which turned their offense around. And it seemed, from seeing the spring game and seeing what's going on, it was a smooth transition. And Urban Meyer has been wanting to say he wanted to get the ball downfield a lot more. They got good young talent at running back and receiver, but someone's got to emerge as a star. But they have star potential. It's just us figuring out who it's going to be. The only thing is they're very talented on D because they've had 2 top 5 recruiting classes, but they're very inexperienced in the secondary, and that's one thing. So they're going to have to put up points until those guys gel together. Because just being a 5-star, being great doesn't. And Coach Turk being the DB coach knows that just doesn't. There's got to be. Yeah. It takes some time.
It takes some time.
So I've got them as probably my number 1 seed right now in the East. Second is Penn State. And part of that is because, I should say it's kind of a 1 or 2 and 2A between Penn State and Michigan. I think I'm going to give Penn State the nod because they played for the Big Ten title last year. Mm-hmm. They got Trace McSorley and they got Saquon Barkley, who's phenomenal.
Barkley's probably he might be the best running back in the nation. He was phenomenal last year.
And And McSorley is, for me as a defensive coordinator, the book is still out. He does really good when the play breaks down of getting outside the pocket. He's got a pretty strong arm, throws a bunch of, haymakers, as we say, and huck and chucks. But I want to see him now that everyone knows what he is and what they do, to see how that turns out. They have a very weak O-line, very inexperienced, and they have a lot of losses on the defense, especially their pass rush. So with a weak back end and then not having a pass rush, and their games that, beating Ohio State, they beat them in Happy Valley. They got to go down to Columbus, and the horseshoe's tough to play in. So, my 2A for the East is Michigan. They've also had 2 back-to-back top 5 recruiting classes. They've got, competition at quarterback, and me and you had talked earlier when we first started shows. Me and you both like Brandon Peters, that he could emerge as, if it's a fair competition, physically, talent-wise, he is way better than Wilton Spate in my eyes. They lost Jake Butt, they lost Amara Darba, they lost J.U. Chesson. They got a suspect O-line coming back. They only have 2 starters. And everyone just keeps trying. I know they got Rashawn Gary, and that's your favorite guy, and we'll get to that in another week, another time. But their defense is not really reloading; they're rebuilding. They got a lot of young guys, especially in that back end in the secondary. A lot of freshmen, a lot of sophomores. So I think they were ahead of schedule last year, but I don't know. So I think Michigan is. I don't want to say they're fool's gold, but that's why I'm gonna pick Ohio State to win the East. Now, do you have anything you want to add anything in, or are you pretty much for the East?
For the East, I do like Ohio State #1. I like Michigan over Penn State, and it was because of the couple of reasons you said. I think Saquon Barkley and McSorley are very good, but I think that offensive line is got a lot of leakage. It's very suspect, and I don't think their defense is going to be able to. They got a tough schedule as far as on the road games. I think they get Michigan at home, so we'll see. That's a good situation for them. But I still don't think they got enough to make it happen over Michigan and Ohio State. Now, I will say this about Michigan, and the same thing I'm going to say about Ohio State. I think they both got 2 quarterbacks that are veterans that are safe. I think J.T. Barrett and Wilton Spate are safe quarterbacks. But I think if they're going to go,
what do you mean by like safe in their position, or they're safe if you're a head coach?
If you're a head coach,
okay.
You know what you're going to expect to a certain extent. You got it all figured out as far as you don't have much variable. You know what you're going to get out of. I think if Ohio State or Michigan want to go to the next level, I think the 2 young kids need to beat out safe. And for Michigan, that's Brandon Peters. He needs to be exceptional to beat out the safe pick, right? And I think if he's exceptional, Michigan can vault themselves to another level. Because I think the guy's got exceptional talent. And when I say exceptional, I mean future first-round quarterback talent. And the guy from Ohio State,
he's pretty good too.
The 5-star they pulled from DJ Durkin on at Maryland, he's phenomenal. I mean, I think his name is starts with a D. I lost his name. I had it written down. The quarterback out of Maryland, he's got a chance to be very good. He's a big guy. He's got a big arm. He's athletic.
He'll fit Kevin Wilson's offense.
Yeah, and Kevin Wilson's offense, I mean, they put up points. Yeah. So I think Michigan and Ohio State are going to be the 2 tops in the Big Ten. But I think if they want to go to that national level, those 2 young kids need to grow up fast and be elite quarterbacks now. That's my big caveat and all that. Nobody's beating out McSorley. You know what you're going to get. But those 2 guys, they've got first-round blue-chip talent in the ranks, but they got veteran quarterbacks ahead of them. I think so. We'll see what happens there. But go ahead. You go to the West.
So going to the West, and this is kind of what's disappointing. Like the Big Ten is really top heavy right now, but you go to the West, and to me, it's Wisconsin head and heels above everybody. They've got a talented QB and 2 outstanding running backs coming back on that side of the bracket. They got to replace a left tackle, but outside that, they have a pretty solid offensive line. Defensively, they got to replace T.J. Watt and Vince Beagle, but they've got some. They've been building up that talent, for a while. So it's more of a reload for them. They got good young players all over the place. They got a new DC, Jim Leonard, who was actually played at Wisconsin, was a very good player, had a good career in the NFL, and he's got an aggressive scheme. And there's also for them, why give them that? They have an easy schedule. They won 10 or 11 games last year. Mm-hmm. There's no OSU, there's no Penn State in the regular season. So they're going to get a lot of, they'll probably squeeze a Maryland or a Rutgers in there. It'll be some cupcakes. And like I said, I think their toughest game will probably be going to the Big House.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, now, my number 2 team is Northwestern. they have a solid team that's full of seniors and juniors, and they have a pretty good quarterback, and they have an outstanding running back. So with that, they've got a slew of receivers because they run a spread offense, and you never know who the guys are, but they always put up numbers. And they have 7 returning starters that only gave up about 21 points a game last year, and that's not bad in this era. So I picked them as number 2. Do I expect them to beat Wisconsin? It'd have to be a bad day. Maybe somebody gets hurt. Now, outside of that, even in the East, I would say even all the stuff that's happened with Michigan State, when the smoke clears, I think Michigan State can still be a pretty good team. But when you get on this West, once you get past Wisconsin, Northwestern, you got basically Nebraska and Iowa. And I know we talked about Nebraska last week. But I'm looking at, I didn't realize that they got Bob Diaco. And I like Bob Diaco. Actually, our defense that we ran in high school is a little mix of Bob Diaco and Michigan State's defense. So it depends on how fast those guys get it, but it's an aggressive defense. But their wide receiver core is weak, and the quarterback is a transfer from Tulane. So, but Mike Riley's had a history of putting quarterbacks together and doing well. Iowa is strong defense, strong O-line, good running backs, new quarterback. So, it's an old school Big Ten team, but I don't know. So in the West, what I have for my finals is I got OSU winning the East, and I got Wisconsin winning the West, and I have the Big Ten championship. I think it'll be a tight game, and I think it'll be one of those shootouts. I think it'll be 35-28. OSU is the Big Ten champ. My dark horse picks, though, are out the East is MSU. I know they've been in a lot of trouble, but they have a really good quarterback. They've got 2 really good running backs. Their defense last year was young, and that's one thing that they always put out there is a solid defense. And I think with a year under their belt, I think the thing is now with what happened, they're hurt at receiver. They got to find receivers. They got to have some guys make plays. I'm just saying that's my dark horse. They could beat Michigan, and they can maybe give Ohio State a run. I think Ohio State will beat them, but I think that they won't. That 3-9, 1-8 in the Big Ten, that's not going to happen this year.
Yeah, who's the Michigan State's got a really good quarterback?
It's the kid that came in versus Michigan is Lewandicki or I've talked to some of the coaches. Remember we sat down and had a talk with their coaches, and I asked them, I said, as a kid, this is a coach that I trust a lot of stuff he says, and he's always straight. He said if he stays healthy, because I was probably got hurt, if he stays healthy, he'll be the best quarterback that ever played at Michigan State.
Oh.
And he doesn't have to say that to us, and we're defensive. He's a defensive coach. He sees it every day. He said this will be the best kid that ever, talking about Kirk Cousins, talking about Jeff Smoker, you're talking about a lot of guys that came out of there.
Wow, I didn't, when I watched him, I guess I didn't pay enough attention to him.
And he can run. He's really athletic. He's sneaky athletic. So you see him, you say, oh, this little, and then boom, he's gone.
So in the East, I like Ohio State to win it. And one of our listeners chimed in. It's Dwayne Haskins. It's who. Sorry, bum. But that's who I was looking for. Dwayne Haskins is the guy that I think takes them to the next level. I like Michigan over Penn State. I gave those reasons earlier. Those are the top 3. Over in the West, I think it's Wisconsin's division to lose. But behind them, I actually like Iowa better than I like Northwestern. The only reason I like Iowa is because Iowa's doing what Iowa does. Mm-hmm. They got a good stable of running backs coming back. They got the best O-line in the conference. They got one of the top 3 linebacking cores in the conference. And they're going to win in the front 7. They're not going to be flashy at receiver. They're not going to be flashy at corner and safety. They're going to play. They're going to keep everything in front of them. They're going to tackle.
Old school Big Ten.
Yeah, but they're going to win 7 to 8 games, and I think 8 games in that division is probably right around second place behind Wisconsin. But I do think Northwestern and Nebraska make it interesting over there. I like Northwestern. I like Jackson, their running back. I think he's one of the better running backs in the country. Second best in the Big Ten behind Saquon Barkley. But he's a scat back who at the next level is probably going to be a third down.
Like poor man's Reggie Bush.
Yeah, he's a change of pace guy, but he's very, he's very shifty. Straight line speed, so, but shifty as far as making people miss 20 yards. He reminds me actually of Amir Abdullah a lot more than Reggie Bush, just because he's a thicker guy now, but he's not a straight line speed guy. He's a good running back. They run a spread. We'll see what happens with them.
And that's why I had my dark horse. It took a lot in me. I took Iowa, but I have to be careful because you don't want to. But Purdue is in a very situation that I'm very familiar with. So when I got there in 1996, we were coming out of the Mike Allstott era, and my first year we went 3-8. I was like, I gotta get out of here. I've been going to Brother Rice. I didn't lose this many games in 4 years. And next year Joe Tiller came in there, brought basically the spread to the Big Ten, and we went 9-3. A lot of stuff that's happening right now in this offseason. They got rid of Coach Hazel. They brought in Braum from Western Kentucky, who has a basketball on grass type offense, puts up a lot of points. The defense has a lot of guys that are good athletes, not great, greatly known. But on offense, they have one of the best quarterbacks statistically returning in David Blau. So it took me, and I'm looking, it's 20 years later, right? It's everything, recycles itself every 20 years. So I looked at that and I'm thinking, can Purdue, because you look at that side of the conference, you got Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, and it's quiet up in Minnesota. I really don't know what they have. I don't know how they're going to adjust to PJ Fleck. And you can do all that row-to-boat stuff up there and get, make guys play, inspire them to play the big boys. But now, where he only had to get them expire 1 or 2 games to really get up for, every week in the Big Ten you got to get up. So I don't know. But I think
he's 2 years away from really getting his guys in there to develop the culture he wants.
But the problem is 2 years away is Wisconsin is, as you talked last week, with the kids that they're getting out of, like they're going West Bloomfield. So that's letting they're changing their offense. They're probably still going to run the ball, but they're going to be more competitive. They may dominate this West Conference, and especially if Iowa can't catch up. So those are my dark horses, MSU and Iowa, but I pick OSU kind of by default right now, unless Michigan pulls something out of their ass. But just because they're just recruiting better than everybody right now in the conference, and I think that's.
And one interesting thing about Michigan State, they were your dark horse, and I just got a Bleacher Report article that they officially dismissed Josh King, Donnie Corley, and Demetric Vance from the team. So that became official today.
What was it last time when they?
I think it was just today's the official. There's no turning back. So I mean, honestly, that's why I think Michigan State's going to struggle, because I don't think you can lose a Donnie Corley type talent and replace him as easily as some people may think. I mean, that guy was going to be a phenomenal player as far as Michigan State for 3 years, and that's gone all of a sudden. I don't think they got enough in the vault to replace what they were losing in production as a sophomore. What he was going to give them.
Here's what I'm looking at. So that was kind of how I thought at first. Kind of looking at, I don't want to say the fan perspective, but just the outside looking in. But now from your coach's mind, I think D'Antonio. I think everybody, they always say if you're somewhere for 10 years, you either need to leave or you need to change what you're doing. And he was approaching that. It's either been 10 years or he's approaching that mark. And I think things started getting good. And I think right now with this gut shot and the conference he had, that things have gotten away from how they want it. I think he's going to go in there, and he's a guy that can get ill real quick. And I think he'll tighten everybody up. He'll give them a purpose. And that's a team with a purpose is a deadly team that has good talent display, but they're young, and they never think, why can't we do this? So that's why I said they're my dark horse. I think they could beat Michigan on a good day. I think they go in there and mess around, because they started feeling at the end last year, and they were coming back on Michigan. It was just a little bit too late. But you walk into that game. But like I said, I think they're a year away. But I don't think they're going. I think they're a 7-8 win team.
I don't think they're going. We'll see. I disagree with you there. I think they'll barely be bowl eligible this year. That's my thoughts on Michigan State. Barely.
I'm excited for this. This is our new segment here. You hear this guy saying that guy's a bum, this guy's a bum. But our next segment, brand new segment, is called Bum of the Week by Turk.
Hey. Yes. So as Rocco said earlier, this is our new segment called the Bum of the Week. And we're going to make sure this thing is sports related. But for our inaugural Bum of the Week, pay attention. We have a man, and I say man very reluctantly, who earlier this week poured his heart out on social media. Ironically, he is part of the first family of social media.
Oh, here we go.
I think you know who I'm talking about.
I can guess.
You can guess. This week's Bum of the Week is none other than Robert Kardashian. Some people call him Rob. Some people call him Bobby. Well, why do you ask why I say Rob Kardashian for Bum of the Week? How this relates?
The show got dark.
This was a tight race. I'm going to be honest with you. It came down to Rob Kardashian, Dan Gilbert for his low ball antics in Cleveland, the Utah Jazz fans for burning Gordon Hayward's jerseys, and had a long reach. I had Donald Trump's Twitter account for his gifts on WrestleMania. I put that in there. Those were the 4 finalists. But why did Rob get it? I thought there was no bigger bum than him. So for those that don't know, Rob Kardashian and Blac Chyna, they had a kid together. They got a little daughter. And, for the last couple of months, they've been separated. And we've been pretty quiet on all fronts. We haven't heard too much about them. But I guess 4th of July came along. Rock Kardashian was feeling real American. He put his chest out. Too many drinks. And he said, you know what? I'm going off. I'm tired of what's going on. Rock Kardashian, instead of calling his baby mama, handling this behind closed doors, he decided to come out and let the whole world know that he had a baby with a whore. He said, look at this woman. She's sending me pictures naked, and then she's going to have sex with some other guy in the bed that I paid for. Look at this woman. I spent $100,000 on her to get plastic surgery, and this is how she repays me. Look at this woman. I spent $250,000 in jewelry, had it sent to her house. She sent me a picture. She was having sex with some rapper named Ferrari the next day. Who is Ferrari? I don't know. But all I know, I seen the car last week.
So let me interrupt you real quick, because this is word for word. He wrote this on his.
This is the full rant on IG. He is pouring his heart out. Not only is he pouring his heart out, but he's sending us the pictures that Blac Chyna is sending him before he sleeps with the other guy. He even had a picture of Ferrari in his robe in his bed. And at the same time, Rob's still paying her bills. Ferrari's asking him to say, hey, man, before I go public with this, me and you should get together and hook something up. We can both make money out of this.
I like Rob Kardashian.
If your name is Ferrari, you're supposed to be rich, man. You're not supposed to be looking for nobody else. I never heard of the guy. He may be bum of the week next week. Let me continue.
What's wrong with this so far?
All right, so
this is awesome.
100K in plastic surgery, 250K in jewelry. Rock Kardashian is pouring his heart out, talking about how his girl slept with 20 guys while they were together. My question to him is, how does it get to 20? Shouldn't it stop at 1? Maybe 2.
How do you carry the one? She's at 17 now.
Yeah. 3 more and I'm out.
But here's the real question: is that his kid?
Hey, that's coming next.
I want to drink with Rob Kardashian.
Rob Kardashian poured his out. I mean, he put pictures. Funny thing is that Blac Chyna's lawyer is looking at facing a lawsuit about some new law they got about sending out naked pictures of your ex. It's some porn privacy law, which is ridiculous. So he may have to go to court to deal with that. So let's summarize it. Rob Kardashian's out $350,000. He doesn't live in his house. His girl has slept with at least 20 dudes, and she's sending him pictures right as she's sleeping with the next man up.
That's in his clothes.
To top it all off, he started exposing people that she slept with. She said, hey, T.I., Tiny, how are you to talk about my kid? You had a threesome with Chyna. So Rob is going full out meltdown, and we're all watching on social media, the first family of social media. So some of you say, hey man, this is a sports show. What does that have to do related with sports? Ironically, Blac Chyna, she was the ex-girlfriend of none other than P.J. Tucker, Houston Rockets, new small forward.
I didn't know that.
Rob Kardashian, his sister, Kim Kardashian, has had more pro athletes than Nike.
I think it might be at 20.
Just do it.
The whole family
So,
has, yeah.
to summarize.
And Chloe.
Chloe's with, yeah. So we got a lot of sports tie-ins here. So, to summarize it, if you see Rob Kardashian out, give that man $1 because he's the bum of the week.
Nice.
I'm excited about that because and here's the thing, I don't know if I was going to send this to you just because when I saw it. So, in our time, Buffalo Bills were good, right? I don't care what you go to 4 straight Super Bowls, you're a good team.
Yeah.
And it was in the era where the AFC was packed. It was good. So the whole, Buffalo of lately since the Music City Miracle, they've had a couple 15, 16 bad years. So before we got into football started, they were pretty bad. All they had was OJ got there.
Yeah.
So someone put on social media that kind of I don't know, was a bum of the week, but they cursed the Buffalo Bills franchise. I'm like, why is everybody on it? And they cursed them because they did a whole tie back that said it was something that happened the year before OJ got there.
Uh-huh.
And it was like somebody missed a kick or dropped a pass, or they would have. So in the situation would have been OJ would never came.
Yeah.
If OJ would never came, we'd never met Nicole. If everybody met Nicole, he'd never met Robert, the Kardashian Sr. and then we would not be in this mired mess of
The Kardashian
So they have blamed the
OJ.
Buffalo Bills. No, they blamed the Buffalo Bills 1972 season, whatever happened in the playoffs.
Ralph Wilson, wherever you are.
Butterfly
So-
effect.
Bye.
That is amazing. And they literally, and I have to give it to you, they like broke down the timeline of everything that happened. And it was that this one dude would have caught this pass, none of this would have happened. So it's what football is a game of inches, and you never know where it's going to be.
Man, the Kardashian clan
All right.
strikes again.
I love that.
Well, before we get into our last topic, if you want to call in, the number is 248-721-8570. The last topic, preseason college football preview, the SEC, and this is Dominic's choice. I'm going to go with Turk here because I think Bum of the Week was fantastic. Great idea. I like
I
that.
can't be mad at that.
I want to hang out with Rob Kardashian. It sounds
Oh
like
man,
he's
They're gonna-
awesome.
You know, 350K
Well,
is
hold on.
nothing.
Where are you going to hang out with him? Because you're going to try to slide up in his house and get his robe?
It's
And something else?
very,
He wants to be number 21.
Yeah.
yeah. Yep, that's it, guys. Thanks.
Hey,
It sounds like it's nonstop chaos.
But check it out. This is, you always got to use your business mind, right?
Mhm.
So, when you slide up and become number 21,
No.
when you have the robe,
Whoa,
wait, hold on, when you got the
This
robe,
took such a
make
dark
sure
turn.
make sure the arcane
Yeah.
now is make sure it's in the pocket so when it
Always
gets covered.
promote,
Because
yes.
if he's going to be posting them pictures everywhere, you gotta have the picture, you gotta have the
Right.
camera.
Gotta have
Good
All
point.
right. Thanks, guys. This
You
is
can say,
all
look
good
at
stuff.
you.
Because you know how many people on the social media? That'll
Oh.
get you all the.
Oh, we're watching him self-destruct on live TV. It's actually quite sad.
That's awesome.
Where's the momager at? Isn't she supposed to be helping him?
I mean, she's probably
figuring out how to make money.
trying to remove his fingers from the keyboard.
We have to segue into the SEC.
The SEC. All right. Speaking of bums, no. All right. So the SEC. All right. Here we are, as many would say, the premier conference in college football. Top to bottom, we'll see. But we start at the top, and you know it doesn't go any further. It can't go past Alabama. Alabama, on paper, looks scarier this year than they did last year. And people say, well, they lost Reuben Foster, they lost O.J. Howard, they lost their starting.
70 defensive
Yeah, they lost a lot of guys. But the fact is that nobody recruits better than Alabama. And not only do they recruit, but they develop players that dominate in college. Alabama has a slew of their quarterbacks back. Sophomores back this year.
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts. But the rookie coming in, the freshman coming in from Hawaii.
Here, I wrote it down so I can make sure.
You say it right. It's hold on, let me
Tagovailoa.
Tua Tagovailoa. Okay, Tua Tagovailoa, I think, is a better passer than his counterpart right now. I think what you're going to see
Maybe
is
he's a better athlete as well.
he might be, but I think you're going to see both of those guys play this year, and I think that they're going to get in a situation where they're going to be able to use both of them because they're going to be they're going to be a heavy run, play action team, but from top to bottom, I mean the roster is loaded. Deshaun Hand looks to be one of the best defensive linemen. You know, he was a guy at Michigan, was really close on getting. He's finally going to get his chance to be the guy at Alabama where he's been a situational guy before him because there was so many guys ahead of him. He played, but he's going to be the main producer on that D line. They bring back in the secondary.
Rashaan Evans at linebacker.
Yeah, Rashaan Evans. He was a 4-star blue chip coming out of high school. At receiver, they've got one of the best receivers in Calvin Ridley in the country. He's a premier route runner. I think if you look at the team at running back, you know, Bo Scarborough's back, and he's got guys behind him who look just as good. I mean, Alabama does it every year, where the guy who's looking like the lead back, you want to see the guy behind him because he's scarier.
But they got a freshman that's in there that may take Scarborough's
That's what
job.
it happens every year. So Alabama, I think Alabama speaks for itself. After Alabama, I think it's going to be a tight race, and I
So
think
we're in the West?
we're in the West right now.
Okay.
I'm just going to do West, and I'll let you do West.
Okay.
All right. So after Alabama, I think it comes down to Georgia and Florida, and I think we're going to see a lot. We're going to know a lot about Florida after that first game.
You said, what are you in the West?
I'm sorry, I'm in the East.
Okay, to the East. Okay,
Yeah,
I got
I'm in
you.
the East. What did I just do?
Well, Alabama's in the West. You start out in the West.
Penalty.
Penalty.
Ref gives you a penalty.
Hit that man. So okay, I'll go. So I'm with you with Alabama.
Yeah.
So my next pick in the West is it was tough between LSU and Auburn, and I'll get into Auburn later. But I think LSU strong running game, We got a star in Darius Juice, that's emerging superstar. Very formidable pass rush game down there, especially with Arden Key, who I don't know if you know him last year. He plays the outside linebacker and D, and he is ferocious off the edge. Great recruiting classes the last 2 years. Players and staff really like Ed Ogeron, and he's liked everywhere he goes.
Yeah, he's a player. He's a player's coach. They really like him.
He brought in a very good OC that has can really work with the quarterbacks. And Danny Etling, which is my little Purdue tie today, he finished out the season okay. I think he's a competent guy. I think he can be a game manager. Maybe he can make a few throws because he does have a live arm. But I think with that defense, and Alabama always, these aren't ever blowouts when they play. I think if Danny Etling can figure it out, that LSU has a chance. But I put them number 2 in the West.
Okay, before you go further, I like LSU, and I still, even with Ed Ogeron, I still think the problem's going to come down to offense for them. I still think that I haven't seen enough to be a believer that they're going to have a legitimate offense on the field. Defense is going to be lights out. They're going to hold teams to less than 20 points year in and year out. I actually think Auburn is going to be a better team than this year because I think getting Stedman to come over from Baylor.
Boy, if you haven't seen this kid, go look him up at Baylor.
Yeah, go look up 2 years ago at Baylor because this guy threw the ball all over the field. He's going to go to Auburn where he's got is as good as athletes they had at Baylor. He's got better athletes at every position in Auburn. And Auburn is like an LSU where defensively they're going to be a good team. They're not going to be as great as LSU, but they're going to be a good defense. And if you look back on when Auburn was dominant, when they had Cam Newton, that team could score. Yeah. And they could score running, they could score passing. Stidman's not the runner that Cam Newton is.
They don't need to be because they got 2 dog running backs.
They got 2 dog running backs. And one of them, the freshman from last year,
Cameron Petaway.
Yeah, Cameron Petaway. And those guys are going to run the ball, and Stidman is going to get the ball downfield. And, they're going to still, even with Stidman being not as mobile, they're still going to run some read. They're still going to pull the ball, and they're going to throw it downfield. Stidman is as good a downfield thrower as there is in college football. He had a year off. He's been practicing a lot. Early reports is he looks great. Auburn and LSU, I think Auburn
can scare Alabama in the Iron Bowl.
I think the reason they're going to scare them is because Alabama's secondary is young. Mm-hmm. And I think if you have 2 very good running backs who are going to keep Alabama honest, and you have a quarterback with a accurate downfield, you can make some noise against Alabama.
And Jalen Hurts, he had a great year.
Yeah.
Now we got to remember you have the new what's his name is coach of the ball from the Patriots is down there. And they say it's a seamless transition. We'll see. O.J. Howard, he might not have the greatest numbers in college, but his presence alone, safeties had to account for him. Yeah. You lose our Darius Stewart. You have Calvin Ridley. You got some of the young cats need to step up. But Jalen Hurts, he ran for 1,000 yards, but his throwing, he made big plays when he had to, but his accuracy and his consistency. So the thing is, if that's not there, that opens up the door for an LSU or a.
But that's why I think you're going to see a quarterback by committee at Alabama because I think the freshman is so much more advanced as a passer that he's going to get on the field. Where Jalen Hurts is a one-read guy. Yeah. And that was one of the big hang-ups when Nick Saban got rid of his offensive coordinator last year, is that they tried to simplify the offense for the guy. And at some points, it started stalling where Nick Saban knew that this wasn't enough to get them to the next level.
It was easy to figure out.
Yeah, it was easy to figure out.
Especially the LSU game. I mean, he came up big at the end, but LSU gets one big play, that their season's up.
And let's not discount what you said about O.J. Howard. O.J. Howard, from a size-speed ratio, is as good a tight end as come out of college football. Physically, yeah, he's as good a tight end as you've seen physically come out of college football since. Yeah, maybe even Gronk's bigger, but man, I mean not by much. O.J. Howard's 265, and he looks like he runs like a wide receiver. I mean, and the thing is, he's an end of the line blocker, yeah, which is devastating when you're that big and you can run, and that's what makes Gronk so great. He's an end of the line blocker who can get downfield and create a matchup nightmare. Yeah, nobody's like Gronk. But O.J. Howard was a freak of nature.
Well, look at that. For the most part, our top 3 are the same with Alabama, LSU, and Auburn. And same thing, even though I had LSU second, I think, like you just said, I would debate it a lot because Stidham, before he got hurt down there at Baylor, he was a Heisman. He put up Heisman sick numbers.
I think he's going to do that in the SEC. I actually think he's going to do those type of numbers in the SEC because you're going to be able to throw the ball in that all. One team, though, before we move over to the other division, I wish Brett Bielema was not behind all those horses over there.
Because they got a dog quarterback.
Because Arkansas, man, Brett Bielema is a good coach, man. I know, people with mixed reviews in Wisconsin. He's held his own down there in Arkansas. Arkansas, and they've won some games they weren't supposed to win in the last couple of years. They've got a good team.
And even the games they lost, like the Alabama, you look at 14, 13,
Yeah,
10,
they've been
7,
right there.
Yeah.
And he's not getting world-class recruiting classes. He's just developing guys, and he's in the South. Those 3 stars in the South look a lot. They look pretty good.
He brought that Big Ten hog offense. He just his secondary has been sus, and he's had some good D line, but his back 7 have been.
And that's
sus.
that's what when you get to the skill position, that's where you need the elite talent. That's where you can only do so much. That's what separates a team like, I know we go back and forth between the Big Ten, but a team like Iowa, who can coach the heck out of guys, but until you get those top end talents to take you to that next level, you can't do everything. You can't stop everything. You can't game plan for everything. You got to just keep everything in front of you.
Yeah.
And that's where Arkansas is at right now. They're in a tough spot, but I do think if they weren't in that division, they'd have a better chance.
So So we got that covered. So we got Alabama, pretty much both of Alabama winning the West. What do you have? What are your East picks?
In East, so I was having brain fart, but it comes down to Georgia and Florida, right? For me, and I hate to. I'm gonna sound like a worm boy. I am gonna sound like a worm boy because I honestly don't trust Georgia. I don't trust Mark Richt even when he was. Not Mark Richt. I'm sorry.
Smart?
I don't trust Kirby Smart. I didn't like. I thought the team was unprepared several games last year when they had the talent to be very good. I was surprised that some of their games they weren't prepared for. But on the other side, Florida has a good defense coming back. We got our guy Reese down there.
Yeah.
Down there, he's taking over for Davis in the middle. He was phenomenal. He was an All-SEC freshman team last year. They got a good core coming back on defense. Offensively, it's still going to come down to what they're going to be able to do. I know they got the transfer in.
Zaire came in.
Yeah.
But Felipe, the kid down there, the red shirt, he's a big 6'6" kid. He's been showing. It's going to be, I think, with Malik being down there, competition is going to breed a winner, and I think whoever comes out of that. And I think whoever gets that quarterback now, that they go and beat Michigan and get that confidence to beat Michigan, then I say that's going to get Florida.
That's why I said I'm going to sound like a worm boy. But I think if Florida wins against Michigan, I think that's their division. If they lose, and if they lose in a way that their offense doesn't look like it's progressed, then this spells trouble for them.
Here's the only thing about Florida, and this is why I do trust Georgia, because I think Kirby Smart, it was his first year. He had to acclimate his system, not only just the system that he's playing, but his dominance as he dominates the play. You're going to do it my way or this way. The problem with Florida is, okay, if they beat Michigan, well, here's what they got in the first 4 weeks of the season, 5 weeks, up until maybe the middle of October. Michigan, LSU, Texas A&M. Those are, you lose to Michigan. I don't know if they got enough to, especially if the quarterback situation we talked about LSU is manageable enough. LSU's defense is too good, and then Texas A&M. I think Coach Sumlin's on it, and I played. Coach Sumlin's a coach at Purdue. He's on the hot seat. And I like him a lot, and I think that they have some talent down there. I think that they're gonna get. Everybody that plays Texas A&M is gonna get their best game. So my thing about Florida is, and I think in that East, maybe Georgia, but I think there's gonna be 2 losses in the East. So, but I'm with you on Georgia. Jacob Eason, once again, you got a quarterback. You got 2 NFL caliber running backs.
Nick Chubb seemed like he's been in college forever.
And you got a solid defense. So, and I think that that's what's going on. So what I have is Alabama and Georgia meeting up. Apprentice versus master going at it. And I think Georgia will get the one that they should have got 2-3 years ago.
They beat Alabama.
I got them I get them getting them back in there
Wow.
because Eason, like you said, I think Alabama's Achilles heel is going to be, and we'll see it early, if guys can throw the ball on them, and look, we don't know what their D line is going to be like. Their D line last year, they don't people have time.
Yeah.
So, and then my dark horse we just talked about in the West is Auburn, and my dark horse in the East, it's Florida, but my super dark horse is Kentucky.
Super dark.
Super dark.
All right, so from there, we're going to stop right there because we're not done with the SEC. Rocco just dropped the nugget. He's got Alabama losing to Georgia in the SEC championship. I think if we were in the South right now, you wouldn't be able to make it out to your car. But we're not. We're in the North, so we can get away with that type of stuff.
So again, thanks everybody. It's about that time for us to get out of here. Just wanted to let everyone know that continue listening to the show, get us out there. But today's show was brought to you and sponsored by Blaze Contracting. The guest debater, I'm still working on it, but we're gonna have somebody next week.
So we're gonna finish the SEC, Pac-12, Pac-12 preview.
And then we'll do whatever NBA, and then we'll have to get a story that pops up there. Or we can go with that, we can start working, like, we wanna start that Raider story as like a 2 or 3 part series. Or do you want me to take the NFL starts before we get to this?
I'm trying to get Tom Daniels in here.
Well, that's fine, we just gotta do that, or I got the dude from the Saints. That's got a couple company player, who's got a couple companies, I can get a cheap.
We'll just keep it general. We can change. We'll talk about the NFL. See NFL thing, summer league, how some of these things got.
Yeah, summer league, right.
And we'll talk about college football.
So right now, just give them.
When is the trade deadline of Major League Baseball? I feel like we need to talk about it.
It's like July 20 something.
So that's coming up.
We should have Andre as the guest debater at the time.
We
Guest fanboy.
We should Andre and Jamal.
Guest fanboy.
Alright, we got 15 seconds.
Well, here we are, the end of another successful show. Show number 12 in the books. That's wow, that's 3 months of shows we've gone through. It seemed like it just flew by. So as you saw this week, we're going to continue talking about these mega conferences, Power 5. We got to finish up the SEC. Rocco has some interesting nuggets about that. We're going to start our talk about the Pac-12, which is a very open-ended conference over there. A lot of exciting football in the Pac-12. And we'll talk about some of these NBA Summer League teams, how some of these rookies are faring, if anybody's paying attention. Some of these, the NBA roster should be a little more solidified by then. We'll talk about that. A dark horse topic, we're going to start talking about the Detroit Tigers. We got to talk about what they do at the trade deadline. Is it time to scrap this thing, start
Fire
over,
sale, let's go.
fire sale, or are we going to try to make a push for the playoffs? Tune in next week. We got the Bum of the Week again, and on Facebook and Twitter, you can obviously nominate whoever you want. We'll talk about that as the week progresses. So please make sure you follow us. If you want to email us, you can check out the Rock and Turk Sports Show at gmail.com. You can tweet us at Rock and Turk Sports with a Z, or look on our Facebook page, the Rock and Turk Sports Show. Thanks for tuning in this week. Rocco, what you think?
Just, I'd like to thank everybody who's listening, especially replaying the podcast. We're getting really good numbers, so thank you on that. And also, just continue to spread the word to your family and friends. Go to www.therockandturksportshow.com and click the Listen Live tab. Or, as Dom said earlier, you can watch us every week on Facebook Live, www.facebook.com/The Rock and Turk Sports Show. Also, please like and follow all of our pages, The Rock and Turk Sports Show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also please subscribe to our YouTube page where we upload every week's show so you can check it out. So, with that, again, Dom, Turk, it's been great. I will say one thing I will do. I will concede the victory this week because Bum of the Week was top notch. And I have to give
If you didn't listen to Bum of the Week, make sure you go back to about the 6:35 mark.
Yeah. He's already got, it's timestamped already.
We got a new segment. Make sure you get involved in that Bum of the Week. Because, hey, look, you can nominate whoever. You can Dan Gilbert, your mama, your daddy, your uncle, your cousin.
Oh,
hey, look, whoever you want, just tell us why. We'll consider it.
And take care of your business because it may be you.
That's right. That's right.
Shit. That was fucking horrible.
I did not know. I saw something that he was just like, oh, blah, blah.
You gotta know. You need to just Google.
I'm not.